Well, let's talk to as many people as we can as quickly as we can. And this is David. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Jan.
Hi.
Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
I want to ask a very brief question, and if I could have a brief follow-up. Dr. Paul, how confident were you at the time that the newsletters that bore your name were represented your views on taxes, on monetary policy, the Second Amendment, the 10th Amendment, all the things that you hold dear? How confident were you that the newsletter accurately portrayed your views on those things?
Well, the newsletters were written, a long time ago, and I wrote a certain portion of them. I would write the economics. So a lot of what you just mentioned.
Was this while you're in Congress or between?
No, this was in between. It was an investment letter, but this would be material that I would turn in, and it would become part of the letter. But there were many times when I didn't edit the whole letter, and other things got put in, and then I didn't even really become aware of the details of that till many years later when somebody else called and said, "Did you know what was in it?" But these were sentences that were put in. I think it was a total of about 8 or 10 sentences, and it was bad stuff. It wasn't a reflection of my views at all. So it got in the letter. I think it was terrible. I was tragic, and and I had some responsibility for it because the name went out in my letter. But I was not an editor. I'm like a publisher. And if you think about publishers of newspapers, every once in a while they get some pretty junky stuff in their newspapers, and they have to say this is not the sentiment and the position of that newspaper, and this is certainly the case. But I actually put a type of a newsletter out. It was a Freedom Report, an investment newsletter, survival report, different ways, every month since 1976. So this is probably 10 sentences out of 10,000 pages for all I know. And but I think it's it's bad that it happened. But I have disavowed all these views, and people who know me best, the people in my district, have heard these stories for years and years. About it, and they knew they weren't reflection of anything I believed in, and it never hurt me politically. And right now, I think that is the same case too. I mean, people are desperate to find something.
But Dr. Paul, many of your newsletters are filled with conspiracies. You had one newsletter from start to finish with fear that the $50 bill, because it was going to be made pink and it was going to have all kinds of things that could track us down, that we should all be afraid. We should all be afraid that maybe tomorrow they're going to require us to turn in all of our old money and
all right. Basically,
well, the coin, the paper money now is pink, But no, we have not had runaway inflation. I still fear that, but I fear the consequences of the inflation, which was my concern. And I'm still, like just a few minutes ago, we talked about the currency wars. It's transformed in a different manner. We do not have yet the runaway inflation, but we have the runaway debt and the runaway malinvestment in the collapse of the whole world economy that we're facing today. So, yes, I was very concerned then. I'm probably more concerned now than ever before. So that's why I continue to deal with these economic issues.
There was an interesting fact. When your people knew that you were going to be on this morning, I got dozens and dozens and dozens of links to a video that your people have produced dealing with the time that you were a physician. And this was of I don't know, I'm assuming you're aware of this, was a black fellow from Texas whose wife was in distress, giving birth in a hospital, and she was having trouble, and they were having trouble finding a doctor who was willing to give them service. And by implication, because he was black and she was a white lady, that she was having trouble finding an emergency physician. Here's the sound of some of this.
It was between 1972 and 73, but it was still a lot of prejudice around this area. My wife was sick, and I was trying to get some attention for her. Nobody came to check. They just left her there. Well, I believe I was left there because of the difference, me being black and her being white. And every time I would say something to the head nurse, she would get pretty upset. And then she finally called the Freeport Police Department, said I was harassing her. And I mean, I didn't know anything to do. Well, then Ron Paul come to my rescue. He just stepped in and went to work with my wife. And after he seen her, I'd say no more than 10 minutes later, she had a stillborn boy child. And he said as far as the bill, he would take care of everything, which he did. I never got a bill from the hospital or anything. And he was a doctor of medicine, and that's what he was doing, was practicing medicine, and it didn't matter who and what and why. He was.
That's an amazing story.
Wow.
How did you? That's a long time ago. I'm surprised.
Well,
how did you?
This was. I just saw this a little while ago. It wasn't put out by our campaign. It was put out by that, the super PAC type stuff that are separated from the campaign.
Okay.
I'm amazed at how they found that. If you would have asked me to go back and find somebody like that, I wouldn't know. But to me, I don't remember it. I don't recall it because it was one of, just the way we practice medicine, in a way at least I practice medicine.
Obviously,
so
it was incredibly important to that guy.
It was a non-event in the sense that that is what I thought my responsibilities were, but I never had the knowledge of how grateful he was, and to me that's magnificent.
After all this time, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's been a long time. So
we will continue with Dr. Ron Paul, Congressman Ron Paul, presidential candidate here in the middle of Iowa. You're listening to 1040 WHO Radio, and we're also simulcasting on C-SPAN here this morning. And Mr. Cooper is going to update us on our farm markets. We'll reconvene in just a moment at 1040 WHO. Okay, now we're back with our C-SPAN viewers. I can see that kind of an emotional effect on you.
Yeah, it did. Well, because it's sort of something out of the past.
You're not given to Oprah moments. You almost had one, didn't you?
Well, it was sort of touching thinking about. It's sort of one of these things where sometimes you get banged over the head mercilessly, and you think, oh boy, they're making me sound like I'm a terrible person. But I keep telling myself, well, first off, you've invited this problem by being involved in politics. The other thing is I work on, over the years, and I know you remember there were times when I'd vote by myself, and trying to make these points. But I keep telling myself truth wins out. Truth wins out in the end. And I think if I can make mistakes, but if I'm telling the truth, eventually truth comes around, whether it's sound money or the foreign policy or whatever. If you honestly believe it's the truth, and I think you'll eventually win. And in some ways, I think we're starting to win some of these fights right now, and the people are starting to listen because our country is in such dire trouble.
It's interesting that, because of YouTube and the video and the modern technology has so changed the way politics is done. There's no place for anybody to hide anymore. You can't utter a word without having somebody record it, and you can't deliver one message to one group of people and then go across town and deliver the opposite message anymore and get away with it. You have to be consistent. There's no place to hide. Now, I was doing some research, and I came across a video that you did on the old Morton Downey show.
Oh, do you have to talk about Morton Downey?
And I was stunned to watch him get in your face and blow smoke in your face and called you every name in the book, and you just sat there taking this stuff. And it goes into what Michelle Bachmann said during the last hour. If you elect Ron Paul, you're going to have legalized heroin. And so how do you deal with those issues?
Well, that's what we had before 1914, and the country survived. But it wasn't legalized in the sense that there were no restrictions. They were just put on by the states. So it's a different approach. Alcohol's a very, very dangerous drug, and they tried prohibition. It was a terrible decade.
Right.
They still still drank. The country drank, and they drank bad liquor at times, and people got sick from it. And finally, conventional wisdom, the status quo said, well, we like alcohol, but we don't like marijuana, so we have to imprison people who are in marijuana. Now, what happened after 1914? There were all different reasons why they wanted to make them legal. It gave more power to the medical profession, but for some reason or other, they decided that everything except alcohol would be a crime rather than a disease. Today, we treat alcoholism as a disease, but if you're hooked on another drug, then you're a criminal. I don't think it solves a bit of the problem. It hasn't worked. We spent trillions of dollars on this. It undermines our personal liberties. We have these break-down doors in the wrong apartments, and people get killed over these things. And the tragedy we have on our southern border has a lot to do with drugs. 45,000 people have died on our borders in recent years.
Well, some people also misunderstand part of the libertarian message. Well, the first half is you have freedom to be stupid. But the other half is the rest of us shouldn't have to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So you let people get total freedom, but you take away the safety net, and so you don't go around catching people. Should I grab one here? Or we have just 1 minute? Okay. All right. We're coming down in a countdown. We're simulcasting on CNN here. I checked that C-SPAN here this morning. I didn't mean to scare anybody. We're talking with Congressman Ron Paul. Dr. Paul is here in the studios, and lots of us are eager to ask him a bunch of questions. Before we do anything else, and I promise to those of you who are on the line, I'll get to you here in just a second. As you well know, proxies for other candidates are all over the place, and one of them that was a proxy for Newt Gingrich the other day said something, and I considered it a personal attack against you. So I would like to give you the opportunity to respond, if that's okay. It wasn't just that he disagreed with your policies. It was an attack on your integrity. And this former Congressman Greg Gansky, who is here, he's proxying for Newt today. And here's what he said.
Ron is accusing the speaker of being a hypocrite. I mean, that's how he ends this last ad. Well, look, when I was in Congress with Ron, he would put in hundreds of millions of dollars of appropriations requests, earmarks, okay? And then he would sit on the floor and he would wait until the vote was certain that his earmarks would be funded. And then he would put his card in the slot and vote no. So that he could then say with purity, okay, I don't vote for earmarks. But there's this hundreds of millions of requests that were honored by Republican appropriators. But then, you know, he doesn't complete the deal.
He'd vote against the budget.
He'd vote against his own earmarks, so knowing that they were going to pass, so that he was going to get it so he could then have his cake and eat it too.
All right, respond any way you'd like.
It's amazing how people change when they become spokesmen for other people. Greg has always been a friend, a fellow physician, and we were good friends in the Congress, but now, of course, you know, he's sort of in an attack mode. But he's completely wrong. I don't know how it's polite to say that people are, you know, doing a little bit more than just being wrong. He's completely...
Here in Iowa, we just say they're full of shinola.
Yeah, well, that's not too bad. but the thing of it is, I think it's probably big. But let me tell you, this is important because I take on a lot of people on the earmarks. Now, he's completely wrong, and I don't know whether he does it deliberately or not, but everybody knows I vote no, and I'm the first one up there, and I vote no on every appropriation bill since I've been there. So I've never voted for an earmark.
So it's sort of your default position.
No, it isn't. It isn't that I ask for it. If it gets passed, then I vote for it. That is just gobbledygook. But on the other hand, I do support the principle of Congress earmarking. I call it designation. Not only do I think it's right to do that, I think every penny should be designated. They don't call these guys that, you know, are harping on me about earmark. If you had an earmark for an embassy in Baghdad or an airplane that's being built in their district, that's not considered an earmark. Earmarks are usually what you make requests. People come because they take our money from our districts, they take our money for, you know, for highway funds, and they're supposed to give it back for our highway fund. And you just have a request for a highway. You mark it down and you send it in. It's sort of a routine thing. You never lobbied it. I just said, they have a right to request some of their money back. But Congress, if they vote down an earmark, you don't save a penny. What happens is that money goes to the executive branch. The executive branch then decides. Then you have to crawl to the executive branch and say, hey, can I have some of my money back to build a highway in my district? Okay, I'll do that as long as you vote for this weapon system that we don't need so we can support the military-industrial complex. Then it's a big trade-off. So no, every penny should be designated by the Congress. And right now, of course, money flows to the executive branch. Obama didn't come and ask for money to invade or get involved in Libya. And he's right now, the plans are being made to go into Syria. He's probably already very much involved. They didn't ask for a designation there. That is the same principle. But Congress should act on their own responsibilities and not deliver these powers to the executive branch.